Dillon, just want to ask you, in terms of, coming off that UCF loss, what was kind of the mood of the team? And, was it kind of guys want to rally around RT, rally around the team together? And in your mind, kind of what's been the biggest difference from, those two losses and now two-game win streak?
I mean, of course, we know we let that one slip, but our T always told us we got to move on to the next game. We hold that loss for 24 hours, and we move on to the next game. And that's just the mindset we got to have. I mean, this is going to be a long conference. So, we can't let a loss dictate the rest of the season for us as far as conference play. So, I mean, it was just all about staying together. And I think that's been the main thing throughout this whole season is learning how to stay together, learning how to play together. So I think that's something that we're kind of, getting a hold of. And I mean, we just got to have that next game mentality.
Eric, any follow-up, sir? Thomas Jones, please.
Hey, Mitch, I kind of follow what Eric said. A lot was made of RT's comments about the horns down and all that. I mean, how did you guys feel? Like, did y'all feel like, RT standing up for us? We're going to have his back. What was kind of going through y'all's minds?
I mean, yeah, of course, we're always going to have RT's back. But I mean, it happens. We're Texas, and we move on to the next game. So we're going to defend our culture, defend the jersey in front of our that we play on. So I mean, it was just moving on to the next game and making sure we get the wins coming forward.
Cliff Thornton, please.
Dillon, kind of following up on what Eric was asking a minute ago. So the last two games, we've seen Baylor go 9 or so minutes down the stretch without scoring a basket. The other night, we saw Oklahoma held to their lowest point total of the season, particularly on the defensive side. What has happened for you guys over the last couple of games? Is it more time in the film room, getting tendencies on your opponent? Is it a adjustment y'all are making, or was it just a outright butt chewing from RT and the coaches? Just to hustle on that end of the floor.
It's just that mindset that we have as a team. Defense wins championships. So that's just the mindset we got to have. We have players to score. We have Max, Dillon, Tyrese, Ithiel. We have players going to score. It's going to come down to that defensive end. And I think that's just something we've really brought into. And it starts, each game that we go into and we're guarded, it starts days before in practice. We're coming into practice with full effort, paying attention to the details. And I mean, every game that we come to, it's not, we wake up that morning and we're just ready to play. We're ready to play 3 days before at practice. So I think it's just coming down to the details and just having that want to and just having that type of mindset that we're going to go out here and guard. No matter if our shots are falling or not, we're going to defend.
Terry Middleton, please.
Dillon, good afternoon. I'm curious, what is it like for you to play with Max and also Chendall Weaver? What has it been like for him to be on the court, and what's the what is his attitude about being there, and how's both of these players made you a better player?
They made me, but Kendall, first of all, just made me a better player, just how hard he plays. He pushes everybody on the team to go hard. Kendall does, even if you look on the box score, sometimes you may think, oh, Kendall's might not doing anything, but he makes more plays than anybody on the court for winning plays. He's always playing hard defensively, extra rebounds. Then with Max, just being able to space the floor, that Max has spaced the floor. Then with my game in particular with Max, being able to get to those get actions with him and, creating space for him to get out shots. And then if it's my man helps up, he could drop it down. So, I mean, these are two players that I'm continuing to learn from, throughout the season.
Thank you.
Corey Mose, go ahead, please, sir.
Yeah, Terry stole my question, so thank you, Terry. But I'm just going to move on to a different one, a little backup question. What's up, DM?
What's up?
So when it comes to Dessou and the way that he's able to space the floor now, I'm interested to know, how does that kind of help you when it comes to the offensive rebounding game? Because now his man kind of moves out to the perimeter, leaves some more space on the inside. So have you seen that kind of effect when it comes to getting those offensive boards with Dessou moving out to the 3-point line?
Yeah, big time, because, with Dessou moving out, he takes the big man out there. And it opens up a lot more space for me to go, crash down and get rebounds. And then also at the same time, when Dessou's up there, he's able to make, smart plays with the ball from the top of the key. Whereas a lot of times he can drop it down to me off a cut or anything like that. So him being able to space the floor has helped our team a lot because it moves that big man out of the paint. It allows guys for like Kendall to get downhill and not have to worry about, the big guy being down there. So it helps our team a lot.
And then can I get a follow-up?
Yes, sir.
I just want to ask DM about just your experience in the Big 12 last year and now y'all going through this gauntlet this year. Of course, another tough year with all these great teams in this conference. How does that kind of help you personally, knowing that y'all already went through what you went through this last year, and knowing what to expect each and every night, and trying to tell the new guys like, hey, it's a gauntlet every single day?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's something I've tried to tell the guys, before Big 12 started. There's not going to be not an easy game in the Big 12. There's never going to be a game that we're going to come into and be like, yeah, we got this one. Never. No matter if we're home or away. And, I learned that last year being a freshman, like it's a really physical conference. So, even when we're in the weight room, I tell guys like, yo, we got to take this serious because when we get in that Big 12, it's really physical. So that's something I learned just from my experience last year, and something that not only I've been able to help myself get ready for, but I've been able to help the new guys with too.
Jeff Jones, please.
Well, you just said there's no easy games in the Big 12, so I imagine any advantage you can get is important. You guys have won 2 straight. BYU's lost 2 straight. Is momentum from game to game a real thing, or because of those days in between, is that not really an advantage?
I mean, I just say we always look forward to the next game. There's no really momentum. It's about being ready to play. Just making sure we pay attention to practice. And like I said, this next upcoming game, it started days ago in practice. Practice today. It really started today. Having that mindset that we're going to come out and defend mainly. That's the biggest thing. So it's not like, we're coming off 2 wins. We're just we're just going in and we know we're going to win. That's never the case in the Big 12. You got to be ready to play, and it started today at practice. So
Since it started today at practice, can you give me a winning moment that you saw today at practice?
a winning moment, I just say the talking. This is a big talking game. BYU is a team that can really shoot the 3 ball, and they have a lot of movement up top. They have a big guy who can really pass the ball, which gives them an advantage. So, I mean, it's about talking. I think that's the biggest game, and I've seen a lot of talking today. And I think just as a team, we're playing together, and that's the biggest key to our team, playing together.
Last one in the queue for Dillon to Mike Harge, please, sir.
Hey, what's up, Dillon? How you doing, buddy?
What's going on?
Nada. I just wanted to ask the question because yesterday, Coach Vic, after his post game, talked about defense and effort, and you mentioned it just a little while ago about the effort part of it. Obviously, the pride is always involved in it, but the one thing that every coach looks for is effort. Is that something that RT has talked to you guys about as well? Being able to defend is the word effort. You got to make sure you go out there and play that way.
Yeah, it's about having the want to, going out there and play hard. We're gonna make mistakes, and RT preaches that. You're gonna make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. And to win games, you don't have to play perfect, but you got to play with effort. You got to play with heart, and you got to go out there and be physical. The Big 12 is a tough conference. There's not going to be one easy game. Like I said, every game's going to go down to 1 possession sometimes. So it's about going out there and playing hard. And, the team who wants it more, the team who goes out there and makes those winning plays, diving on the floor, getting the 50-50 balls, that's what it comes down to, having that want to, having that playing with a lot of effort and physicality.
Corey, you have a follow-up real quick?
Yeah, I'm sorry. But I just want to ask DM this question because, ever since we met you, Dillon, like you've been big on defense. That's been your main thing. And so when it comes to this conversation of defense, talking on defense, how does it feel to play for a coach and for a team that prioritizes defense, knowing that you are a defensive-minded player?
I mean, it's everything I could ask for. I know that's what's going to help not only our team win, but help me individually get to the next level. I want to be a player who's known for defense. I want to be Big 12 first team defense. And that's just something I want to do. But I know my biggest goal is to win a national championship or win championships at Texas. And I know in order for us to do that, we got to play defense. And I think that's something that the team's really bought into. And we know, even if there's games that we have a bad shoot night, good shoot night, we're going to win it on the defensive end. So I think that's something we all bought into.
Good afternoon, RT. Just want to ask you something. You've talked a lot about the Big 12 season being early and being a gauntlet, and there's still room for this team to grow. I think it was 2015, 2016. You had a team at Fresno who got off to, I believe, a 3-3 start in conference before they kind of hit their stride and ended up making an NCAA tournament. So this is a 2-part question for you. One, any parts of this team kind of remind you of that team, of a group that kind of had to gel a little bit later than maybe you would have liked? And B, how common is that in your coaching career to see teams that kind of take a little bit of time in conference play, get off to a slow start, but then eventually hit their peak heading into, tournament play?
I think, Eric, again, it's all about your mindset in terms of the way you try to go about your business every day. I think you don't ever get too high, and you guys hear me say it all the time. You don't ever get too low, but you have to have an even keel about yourself and try to be an everyday guy. I think that's the thing you really try to instill in your teams. You also, as you start conference play, you try to hopefully at some point over the course of non-conference play, really instill in your guys how important it is to play with urgency. The most urgent team is a lot of times the tough team and the team that finds a way to grind it out at the end of the day in conference play. Um, I think for us, we're reaching a level of trying to be consistent to where we bring urgency on every play, whether it's a good play, a bad play, and we're able to move on to the next play with the quick recovery time. So I think all that goes into play, and I've been a part of many teams over the 33 years of coaching. Not a lot I haven't really seen, whether it be conference play, non-conference play. Had a team one year at Fresno that played in the league that was 9 teams, and 5 teams went to the NCAA tournament. We started the year 1-7 in conference play, and we finished 9-9. So, I think just like anything, you got to continue to grind, stay the course, keep working the process, and at the end of the day, try to have your team in a position where they're playing the best basketball at the right time of year.
One quick follow-up, RT. I know it's only one game and you're big on that 24-hour rule, but can a win like, either Baylor or even the last one kind of be, kind of just that jumping off point where the guys truly establish a level of confidence and understand like, hey, this can be what we be. This is more indicative of what we can be as a team if we play this way.
No, absolutely. I mean, two great wins against high-level teams. We look like a really high-level team the last 2 games, and we played like a high-level team the last 2 games ourselves. And I said to our guys when we were 1-3, hey, we could easily be 3-1, and that we have a good team. We've just got to buckle down to the details. We've got to play more consistent over longer stretches of playing really good basketball. And I think last 2 games, our guys have been able to do that against quality opponents. But to your point about one night, it's one night because it's on to the next really great challenge. I mean, we're playing a team in BYU who's been ranked, up near almost the top 10 in the country. They scored 90 points a game in their building, one of the hardest places to play in the country, maybe the loudest place we played this year in the country. For those of you not familiar with BYU basketball, they have an incredible home court. 20,000, the fans come out, they know basketball, and they do a great job supporting their team.
Terry Middleton, please.
Coach Terry, good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. So I'm curious, after the UFC game, what changed? Because there's a switch that got flipped because the team played completely different, and maybe the most noticeable was they played with the same intensity and passion at the end of the game as they did at the beginning of the game. So I'm curious, what happened after the UFC? What did you change? What was that switch that got flipped?
Well, Terry, I don't know if it was necessarily a switch. I think we played pretty well in the Cincinnati game. I thought that was one of our more complete games of the year. And as we embarked on the UCF game, I thought we played pretty good, to be honest with you. At UCF, we just didn't close the game out. They got second chance opportunity, second chance points was the biggest difference in that ball game. We had a couple, ill-advised turnovers that if we just taken care of the ball a little bit down the stretch was, we'd been in pretty good shape with that one. I mean, we had a 16-point lead. We played well. We played against a zone where, again, we got the ball right where we wanted to get it. And, we didn't make a few of those shots, but I thought we played pretty well. We just didn't close that game out. I think for us, like I said before, moving forward, we could have easily been 3-1 as opposed to 1-3. We didn't have our best game at West Virginia. West Virginia was one of those games. It was probably not one of our better games of the year, all the way around. But I don't know if there was a certain switch as opposed to us just playing in longer stretches of urgency and really executing on both offense and defense at a very high level. I mean, you're watching us play the last 2 games. We play like a top 10 team ourselves.
Thomas Jones, please.
Coach, you mentioned, the second chance points for UCF. But these last two games, after getting outboarded by UCF, y'all been really good on the boards. Has your approach changed? What have you changed? I mean, y'all have even got a smaller starting lineup. How do you account for the better rebounding?
Well, we've been working since Christmas. We got back from Christmas, and even before Christmas, we took the pads away, and we started going bone on bone, and you're not gonna have a pad in the game. You have a man you want to hit. So we had to start developing that mindset that we're gonna put our bodies on somebody. We go to the weight room, and we need to have a physical mindset for the 12 because the 12 is a very physical league, and I think we've been getting better and better with that, and understanding that, if my man comes, I've got to hit him maybe one time. I may have to hit him a second time. I may have to hit him a third time because we have multiple effort players in this league. Is why the rebounding is such a big difference. And then if your man doesn't come, you got to come down and help us rebound, so we can get out and play to our strength. We can get out, we can play fast, and we can play in transition.
Hey, a quick follow-up. You've coached, you've been at Provo before, you've been at BYU. Is that altitude a factor at all up there? How do y'all approach that?
I'm going to give you that Jerry Tarkanian speech. Tarkanian used to always say, we're not playing outside, we're playing inside, controlled climate. And lucky enough for us, we're not there long enough for it to even be a factor. I mean, we're 24 hours, almost less, that we're there. So you need to be there about 48 hours, 3 days or so for it to really affect you. So it's never affected me. I just said to our team, we're in the Mountain West one year, we play a four overtime game at Wyoming. And we still could have played another one.
Jeff Jones, please.
Mind over matter. Mind over matter.
Jeff Jones.
RT, I was really interested in the change from using the pads to going bone on bone for the physicality. What else have you done to coach being more physical? And are these changes that you make every season, or is this season different for some reason?
Well, I think there's always a time of year where you got to really get the guys to have a physical mindset. And if you're going to have a physical mindset in games, you have to try to do it in practice. You can't just talk about it in practice or have guys hit the pads or not have the guys get on the floor and worry about guys getting hurt. You can't worry about that. Early in the year, you can, because you want to try to get everybody to the floor, and you still want everybody, you want to have them on the floor and things of that nature there. But there comes a time to where if you're going to play that way, then you got to practice that way. And so, we got to a point where we're not afraid to get on the floor. We know the floor is our friend. We're not afraid to hit somebody, because at the end of the day, if I don't hit them, they're going to hit me. That's what this league's about. If you're out there on the floor and you don't want to get hit, then you probably need to come and sit over on the side with us over there, because you're going to get hit one way or the other. So if I'm going to get hit, I'm going to deliver the first blow and keep delivering the blows.
Mike Hardge, please.
Coach, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Kendall Weaver and what he's been able to bring to the floor. I mean, ever since he's been in there, and some of the things Dillon was talking about earlier was like, y'all don't get to see everything because you're looking at points and all those other things. But every time he steps on the floor, it seems to be a different type of energy. What do you attest that to?
No, Mike, I think, early in the year, I made it a point, first 3 or 4 ball games to our team, how important Kendall was to our team, the minutes that he played, and that he was being a star in his role. We established roles at the beginning of the year and what we need guys to do. He was the guy that was a star in his role early in the season. And when it wasn't even showing up in the box score, this guy comes in the game, he takes care of his business, he doesn't turn it over, he makes simple plays, he impacts winning on both the offensive end and the defensive end. And he just goes about his business. He doesn't complain about not getting shots. He doesn't complain about not getting a play call for him. He's just one of those guys that's an everyday guy. We challenge guys to try to be everyday guys. If you want to be a pro and a professional at what you do, you have to be a guy that punches the clock every day. And he's the prime example of being that type of guy for us every single day.
Cliff Thornton, please.
Hey, RT, over the last couple of games, I asked this to Dillon a minute ago. Over the last couple of games, we've seen Baylor, 2 of your better offenses in this league. We've seen Baylor go over 9 minutes without scoring a basket, and down the stretch in the second half, we've seen Oklahoma held to their lowest point total of the year. Is it, we talked about it a minute ago, is it just a matter of being more physical on the defensive end, or are there other adjustments that have taken place to allow a couple of really good back-to-back defensive games for y'all?
Well, I just think we're getting better. I mean, even in practices, I mean, a lot of things that you simulate in practice, everything that you do in practice has a purpose. There's not one thing on the practice plan that we do from the very beginning of practice to the end of practice that doesn't have carryover into games, to where you got to be to have an application with it. We try to simulate things that you're going to have to do in the game. We don't just put a drill together just to do a drill. The drill is the game, and the guys see it with their own eyes as we watch tape the following day. This drill we were just doing, this was the game. You had to Velcro up there in the pick and roll action. You had to be at the line of scrimmage up there. You had to have high hands in the game. And when you do that, the problems that it causes, you got to be able to tag guys that are rolling and then get out to a shooter with a high hand and try to run him off the line and not foul him. And then when the shot goes up, you got to block out. So, the drill is the game. Don't play the drill. The drill's the game. So I think we've gotten better in practice. And I think we've had pretty good carryover in games. And I think guys are buying in and understanding that in this league, we're going to do what we have to do on offense, but it's going to get down to you guarding and having some pride on the defensive end of the floor to where you're going to have to try to not really so much stop guys. You're not going to stop BYU. BYU is what they do, is who they are. Mark has an incredible offensive team. I mean, they can score the basketball, and at home they score 90 points a game. So, you just got to go in there and you got to try to play as hard as you can play and try to put your will on them from a defensive standpoint in terms of what you're trying to get done.
Corey Mose, please.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, we couldn't even get to the first question without you saying not too high, not too low. So I just wanted to ask you, when it comes to not getting too high, after 2 straight wins over ranked opponents, how do you kind of manage that? Is that getting on them in the film room? Is that humbling them on the practice floor? How do you help them not get too high?
I think in life, in general, I think, you have to be the same person every day. It doesn't matter if you're having a great day, a bad day. I really try to instill it on our guys how important it is to be the same guy every day, you're not going to make everybody happy, and it's not your job to make everybody happy. When you look in that mirror and at the end of the day, man, you got to feel good about who you see and what you did on that particular day. And I think if just, again, we were really big on a no-cut mentality. All our guys want to be professional players. If you go in with the no-cut mentality, then you have a sense of urgency every day with everything you do. And if you have that and live by that, you'll have that in your life. You won't worry about what people are saying about you. You control what you can control. No one controls anything outside of what you do and what your attitude and your approach is every day. So, I mean, that's what it gets down to. And I think for me, that's what I try to instill in guys. Also have faith in your life. You have faith in your life, nothing you can't get through in life. There's no obstacles put in front of you you can't overcome. So I think, again, you just be who you are every day. Really, sets the stage in terms of how you carry yourself, whether you're winning or losing, you're the same person.
I had a quick follow-up, if that's cool, Scott. When it comes to, you mentioned how altitude is not going to play a factor, but the crowd noise may, because it's so loud at BYU. And DM just told us about, we're working on communication in practice today on defense. And so how much more important is that communication in such a loud environment at BYU?
These guys offensively are just, they're a machine offensively. I mean, in terms of, they're going to shoot over 35 threes in the game, but it's not so much the threes they take, it's the pace that they play with on offense. They push the ball really hard in transition. You got to get back and locate shooters. They run, a lot of similar kind of actions that we run on offense in terms of some motion offense to where, guys are cutting and moving and they're right into their shots. If you're not there, they found a lot of sweet spots for their threes. If you're hands down, if you're not ready to play shooter defense. So if you're not communicating that at a very high level, it'll make a long night for you if guys are not communicating.
2 last ones in the queue. Mark Rosner, please.
Yeah, Rodney, now with Weaver playing more minutes, is there things you can do or want to do to take advantage of his quickness on offense, getting to the basket today, rather than, just be relegated to a role on defense?
No, I mean, he's been a guy all year for us that has a chance and opportunity to get to the foul line. He's a guy that puts fouls on other teams, and he's done a good job of that for a better part of the year. I thought in the last ball game he did a great job attacking the glass. Once the offensive had a chance to move and the ball's going side to side, he's had a chance to get downhill a little bit. But he's one of those guys that can put pressure on the basket because of his athleticism and he's got a good frame and he can get downhill to do that. But yeah, we want him to be a little bit more offensive minded for sure. Kendall can score the ball. He's just a very unselfish player and he's a team guy and plays the right way.
Last one, Terry Middleton, please.
Coach, winning is a team effort, right? Everybody's involved, coaches, players, support, fans, right? But it's hard not to talk about Max. He's moving up the ranks of the all-time scoring leaders of NCAA history. He's likely to make the top 10 before the season's over. Can you talk about what's it like to have him on the court? I mean, does he even think about this monumental rise that he's going up, all-time scoring record? It's amazing.
No, he's an amazing person, to be honest with you, and a joy to be around every single day in terms of working with Max. You're as a coach, man, it's a coach's dream in terms of that's the kind of guy you want to have as one of your main guys representing your program, both on and off the court. I think he's, again, a very humble guy to begin with. He's not, what about me? This is about me. He's a very team-oriented guy. And he leads by example a lot of times. He has had a phenomenal career. He really has, but at the end of the day, he just really wants to win at a very high level. And he's been a winner his entire career. So, I think that's, is it an honor for him to pass some of the greats that he's passing himself right now in the midst of his career? I think he takes it all in stride, and I think at the end of the day, when it's time for him to reflect back on it and when it's all said and done and the dust is settled, I think he'll be really proud of what he was able to accomplish over his career and to know that he was one of the greats to play college basketball as well. So you talk about other people that don't get recognition. Our scout team does a great job every day preparing our guys, and that sometimes they don't get the recognition. And he recognizes those guys preparing him for games as well. But Max Acemus, it doesn't get any better than that as a college basketball player and as a person that you get a chance to work with.
RT, thank you. Everybody, thanks for your time today. Appreciate your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.